It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. 4 days away from the first preseason game of 2022, and the Tennessee Titans travel to the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday, and another day of training camp is in the books. Corners Elijah Molden, Roger McCreary, and linebacker Dylan Cole were among the Titans players that did not practice today. Baltimore Ravens extended kicker Justin Tucker 4 years, $24 million. He is now the highest paid kicker in NFL history. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up? It is unofficial depth chart Monday. We had the breaking news. You played that earlier for Buck, didn't you? What did you play it for Buck Rising?
Derrick Henry would not be playing on Thursday.
Oh, no, Derrick Henry. Go ahead and go ahead and hit it. Hit the Blaine Bishop version if you got that. Yeah, that's the one we use on this show. The BBB, Blaine Bishop. The BBBNS is what that is, the Blaine Bishop breaking news sounder. There's no one asked Mike Vrabel today about the depth chart. Every year somebody asks him. So when I came in today, I've been to practice. Brett Batchelor is filling in for Lucas, who's once again out there living it up at Titans practice with Buck and Will and Kirby. And I said, hey, man, when somebody asked Vrabel about the depth chart, just go ahead and hold on to that audio. No one
Zero
asked.
questions.
No one wanted that smoke from Vrabel, and I told you that, Blaine, and you said nobody wanted to look stupid.
Well, you know I'm that kind of guy that's to do something like that too, right?
Nobody wanted to look stupid.
Right.
Nobody asked.
The unofficial depth chart. As a player, and even still covering the Titans with the unofficial, depth chart. I've never understood it, and I know the league says you have to come out with a depth chart.
Yes.
And so then, the teams come out and say, well, this is kind of where it's at now. But if the team is putting out there, it is not unofficial. It is official in my mind. So this is whether this depth chart is true or false, it is what you think as of today.
Right.
Whether people want to believe it or not is a whole nother story. But, so they got to come out with a depth chart, and here it is. So, did you see some things on here that were kind of surprising maybe for you, or nothing at all, really?
No,
I
you and me were talking back and forth some about it. I'll say this. If you love college football, nobody does the or better than college football coaches. Like if they don't want to say the starting running back is, it'll be like five guys, or Blaine, or Mickey, or Brett, or Lucas, or Rhett Bryan. College coaches love to or you. Well, this has some slashes. The
NFL slashes you.
The NFL slashes you. Yes, and college coaches or you. So, of course, no surprise, there's a slash with, honestly, you asked me what stood out. Here's what stood out. Aaron Brewer and Jamarco Jones still have a slash. I've never said Jamarco Jones' name to you.
Hadn't he been injured or no?
Well, he punched, I guess, Lawan before practice started one day. Per fans, or took a swing at him. He didn't punch him. He cleaned him up
but
like
that's
hockey.
The biggest thing we've heard about him the whole camp.
That's the only time we've said his name is when he took a big
Aaron Brewer's
bear paw at Lawan. So that sure feels like Aaron Brewer's earned that deal. Dylan Radins and Nicholas Petit Frere are still a slash, and Nicholas Petit Frere, I can go through my notes.
Yeah. Well, he practiced with the ones today, right?
Yeah, like here's Team 3, 78 was playing right tackle. So that's right. Nicholas Petit Frere.
They said he was doing the starting reps, I guess, the last couple of days. Huh?
Yep, he's been getting them. He's been getting some.
How's he look?
Reps to the ones. He looks good. And it's been a minute around here. Well, Nate Davis is the great example, kind of a middle round guy who midway through the season, 5-6 games in, okay, he's ready to go, and they plugged him in.
Well, I don't know if he was ready to go, but they plugged him in.
But they plugged him in. The Dylan Radins thing is just baffling to me. I know he didn't play. All we ever hear about Dylan Radins is, well, Dylan didn't really have a senior year. Well, how long ago was that? How long ago? that doesn't matter anymore to me. It doesn't matter. It's not his senior year anymore. It's not his rookie year. So that doesn't matter. And then
those are what you call built-in excuses whenever you want to find it convenient to use those. Yeah.
And then he's here. He tries hard. Oh, that guy's trying hard. And
that's the words that they're using?
Yeah.
Oh, try hard. Uh-oh.
Remember that? Because we talked about it that day. I'm like,
they
literally. It wasn't he loves ball because that's it. That's one that.
Oh, you're talking about where he overthinks things and he tries hard. That's when they were talking then.
Well,
I thought they got past that.
No, it wasn't even that. It's like he's the first guy in the building. Like he's making the coffee for people. He's trying hard. He tries hard. And I appreciate the effort, but my gosh, at this level, it's all effort. Because somebody said one day, I'll never forget this about, who was the kid from Tennessee who was the most incredibly athletic receiver? It just didn't work out for him. Justin Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter.
And somebody said, that guy's not even a competitor. And you go, stop that. Stop that. If you get to this level, you're a competitor. Play ping pong against him. Right. Play basketball against him.
Just come on, man. We can't be calling people that or, they're not very good and they've been on rosters or even on tryout for a roster. Obviously they've done something to this point to even get in camp. So those kind of crazy terms when people are talking about, it's really baffling because just right place, right time. A lot of those guys, the last 5 guys that are getting released, if they're on the right team at the right time, they'd make the roster. So you got to, be blessed and have some timing and some luck along the way to really get your opportunity.
Well, Dylan Radins has yet to fully earn his opportunity because he's a slash with Nicholas Petit-Frere. The other thing that stood out to me on offense, and it's just a numbers game, the way he squeezed down, is Racey McMath has kind of piled in with the threes on offense.
Yeah.
And honestly, if the season started today and they had 6 receivers, he'd be number 3. He'd be on the team, but I didn't know if it's unofficial, wink, wink. Maybe they put him up at number 2 just because how well he's playing. But they didn't. They put him at number 3. Dez Fitzpatrick also with the 3s. He's a 4th-round draft pick. Today he had a nice play. I'd have to look back through my notes. Had a play where he was wide open, caught a 20-yard pass from Malik Willis. Malik Willis probably completed more passes today than I've ever seen him complete in practice.
Oh.
Yeah. It hit some deep balls. Finally cut it loose on a couple. And one was kind of a late throw, but he can throw the ball so hard and with so much velocity, he still made the throw. Like in the NFL, it's like, throw it now. Throw him open. He kind of waited till the guy was open, and then he threw it, but he threw it so dang hard he still completed the pass.
I think said he was wide open, though, right?
He was open. That one to Dez Fitzpatrick. He had another one later, and I'd have to look back to see who it was, but he threw it a little bit late, but he threw it still hard. It still got there. The Dez Fitzpatrick thing, it was busted coverage. He was out there by himself. So Dez still with the 3s. To me, Dez still has some work to do. If you go to the defensive side, and I'll just kind of go in order, Laurel Murchison, we were talking to Buck on Friday, and it's like, who's a vet who may not make the team?
Yeah, that's what I asked.
And he hasn't been here too long, but I think he's in danger of not making the team. He's number 3 on the depth chart. Chance Campbell, the rookie out of Ole Miss, is a number 2. Inside linebacker, Monty Rice is still on PUP, but Joe Jones is behind him on this depth chart. Joe Jones is a veteran guy. There are 3 slashes: Aaron Brewer, Jamarco Jones, Dylan Radins, Nicholas Petit-Frere. Here's the other one. Caleb Farley and Roger McCreary are slash right now. Meaning both are. So people are like, what are y'all talking about? Or slash. That means it's this guy or this guy.
You said McCreary did not practice?
Did not see him today. I've not seen him 2 out of the last 3.
He had a rookie rest day?
I don't know.
Oh.
We have not.
How's Farley looked? Inconsistent, probably. Good at times and sometimes not.
Sometimes I write him down that he was in coverage and the guy made the catch. But there have been a couple times where he gets those big, long arms and bats a ball down on somebody. Just watching him move, there's a video. I was looking back through all my videos, and they had everybody who could possibly pick up a ball and run with it doing ball control drills today. Like they had the outside linebackers running through the thing where they punch at the ball while they carry the ball because they've had an emphasis on turnovers. So I guess they're saying, if you pick it up, don't give it right back. And, man, there's a drill of Caleb Farley, and he's just running through everything, and he looks 100%. But he has ups and downs. There was one day I told you he had 2 PBUs. It may have been the day that Buck came on with us, or we had a guest, and the guest said he still had Jim White. Jim White said, he kind of had an up and down day. And I was like, gosh, he had 2 PBUs in one period, but he'd also given up some passes. McCreary, to me, Blaine,
who didn't practice the last 2 days,
two of the last 3
corner out there, even over Fulton, huh? Because Fulton's gotten beat a couple times too. Now he's made some PBUs. I would still say he's number 1, but to this point, I mean, McCreary, he's a feisty, sticky guy.
He may be the most interesting player to me on the team. He's a second-round draft pick, and I know that's big. It's not first, but that's still a high draft pick. But
yeah, Henry was.
But that dude, you always talk about hips, and one day you and me were watching a video, and we were watching when Corey Davis hurt his foot, and you said, I didn't even watch his foot. I was watching Logan Ryan. He's a safety. You said he rounded instead of cut. McCreary, somebody called him sticky. He's sticky.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said that can turn into be a little more handsy in the pros, and they can give you the 5-yard penalty. That's why I said it reminds me a little bit of me, because I'm like, hey, man, where you going? You right here. I got you. You can't do that. So he has to learn to do that. But everything else, I mean, man,
how do hips look on him to you?
Not bad, but not as smooth as I would want them, being that he was a second-round pick. But a lot of it could be from fatigue. I think he relies on his quickness, his lateral quickness, and his hands to be more of a asset than being, let's say, snake-like in his coverage skills. Because every time I see somebody at the top of the route, if they're running an actual route and not a go, sometimes he gets a little too aggressive and he wants to grab instead of relax. And that's the only thing I see. And so to me, sometimes that means maybe you're not in the right position. Maybe you're not ready to, maybe your hips are not as loose as you want them. Or maybe you could be stiff from just practicing, and you're a little sore. So, but nothing major at all. I mean, this guy's going to play. I actually think I'd love to see Farley, McCreary, and Fulton be the starting 3. As far as McCreary in the slot, he has the body build. Mm-hmm. He has the aggressive nature, as you see, to blitz, to play the run game as well as to play the slot. And he has deep end speed, which, the slot is becoming a vertical game. So, I like those 3. I hope it works out that way. Especially it all depends on Farley, really, if he can stay healthy, as well as Molden keeps missing. He missed the beginning of training camp last year. So, man, I don't know the extent of what the issue is, but, man, he now is in a full-scale battle to me, and McCreary gets the edge because he's been practicing. So, yeah.
Donald Mitchell, who you and I have talked about a lot, if you just said, who's the best Titan slot cornerback, I'm always going to default to D-Mitch. Mm-hmm. D-Mitch is one of the first guys I remember watching a football game or talking to people and them saying, he's our slot corner. As the game has changed, that's now a thing that had to change with, like, we need a third cornerback on the field.
College and into the pros, yeah.
D-Mitch, 5'10", 182 is what he's listed at. McCreary, because you mentioned the size, McCreary is listed at 5'11", 190, so almost identical size to D-Mitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, and it's a skill set. Like Fulton doesn't even look like the body build to that guy. That guy has to take on blockers, pullers, be in the run front, contain, sometimes filling in holes, let alone play the passing game. So I think McCreary, I think he can do it. And I think he has a mentality. Some of it is sometimes not even just your build, it's your mentality, how you go about, your game. And I think he fits perfectly there. If everything was even and everybody's healthy, that's kind of where I see it. And then you have in the dime position, I think, as I said, Jackson, I think, is going to be that guy. So we're interested to see him.
He's with the 2s. Theo Jackson, number 2 at safety, one of my other highlights on here.
Well, he's been pretty much the 2s all day. Mm-hmm. Today he ran with the 1s. I think Hooker didn't practice today.
Yep.
So get to see him. I think he's going to be, as I said numerous times, Cruikshank's replacement. I think you've even said that. So, yeah, he's solid for a young player from Tennessee. He definitely, he can blitz, he can cover. So, yeah, I think it's a perfect fit for him. And that way he gets his feet wet besides just special teams. And that may not be every week, but he's going to have a package where I think he's going to be involved at some point in time.
Sometimes guys are just so good, it's like, man, We just got to find a way to put him on the field. Like you tell me, Keith Bullock came in. It's like you guys were loaded at linebacker, loaded. And you were like, oh, yeah, they just immediately came up with something. I was like, well, what'd they call it? You said extra backer. Yeah. It's like he can't not be on the field, even though these other guys are solid, freaking veteran NFL players.
Dudes who have done well in this league and
good
starters.
Players. Yeah, starters. But hey, we got to find a way to put this dude on the field. His skill set. McCreary, to me, is that guy right now of they're going to find a way for him to play.
It's almost impossible for him not to be out there.
Yep.
Yeah, so,
the kick returner and punt returner, Kyle Phillips is listed as the first punt returner. I just wondered if somebody else might get a crack at that, but right now it's Kyle Phillips on paper, and he continues to get more and more reps with the ones, more and more and more, becoming more and more valuable to the team. And remember, I told you a lot of people were putting 5 running backs on the team, and I think 3 quarterbacks. The squeeze might be at running back. A lot of people had Trenton Cannon. Oh, he's going to make the team too.
I never did. Everybody kept saying, oh, he's a great kick returner. Where does he fit into the running back as well as they already got a returning Hilliard?
Hilliard is the number 1 kick returner.
See, it never made any sense. Yeah, he did great. I think he was with San Francisco.
But
third running back, I don't think he's going to be the third guy. The third guy is going to be Haskins, and it's going to be Hilliard.
Everybody's saying, where are you going to find that extra roster spot for the quarterback? To me, that's one first place to start right there.
You're not going to start at receiver. You're not starting there, you know.
You want to sound off on this depth chart, you can do it. We're going to do Ding Dong of the Week coming up in the second segment. We continue to talk Titans as they were back on the practice field today. David Beauclair is going to join us in hour number 2 to give us his Titans observations. But again, anything stand out for you on the depth chart, it's at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter. If you would like to see it there, you want to talk about it, of course. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline, wide open, 615-737-1045. Also, Ding Dong of the Week. If you got one of those, hit us up. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ring-a-ding-ding-dong. It's Monday, so it's time for the ring-a-ding-ding-dong of the week.
Ooh.
Brought to you by Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing, or as we like to say, don't be a ding-dong. Use Mark Spain. Chuck has already dropped a ding-dong in the Mark Spain Real Estate hotline. You can do that as well. He said it's not sports-related. Oh, he's getting into some very political stuff, so we'll just say it's a political post.
What are you talking about? What they say about Justin Hunter? Stand someone in Virginia. What?
Going back to our other chat earlier where Justin Hunter's name came up. Did he stand someone in Virginia? Stab, it says. No, remember it was that supposedly he punched somebody.
Oh,
and all
that
of
was
us are like, look, we've been around that guy. That would be the most aggressive thing we'd ever heard of him doing.
Yeah, that was crazy, but that wasn't why he's not in the league. It really, he had all the ability in the world. Man, what a phenomenal athlete. But that shows you sometimes you don't have the mental fortitude and the toughness that you need to be successful at your position. I think sometimes guys don't have the success you think they should. And when I talk about the mental fortitude, I'm talking about when the going gets tough, do you get going or do you turn it up a notch, and don't take any crap? And that, because he was so inconsistent. One game he looked like he was the best thing since sliced bread. He probably put up almost 200 yards, and the next game he disappears. I'm just like, man, I've never seen anything like this. And boy, what a wiry, athletic man. He may be up there. Even his stature didn't look like right up there with Kenny Britt and some of these super duper athlete guys that go in the first round. So I think he went second round though. But yeah, man, he was a solid player though.
He's a 34th. He's 2 clicks away from being a first round.
Yeah, this guy was
6'4", 203. The most receptions he ever had in a season was 28 in year 2. He averaged 18 yards per catch basically that year.
And see, that's the parts that we don't get to see, the other side of it. What was his work ethic like? Did he want to turn it up a little bit from college to, thinking you've already arrived and you do the same things that you did in college? I think a lot of guys kind of get caught there because they don't know what things they should be doing or are not really good at observing themselves. But, man, he had a world-winning talent. If he could, run routes and just stay healthy, man, he would play consistent. Oh, man, he was – I wish I would have had some of his athleticism, just a touch of it.
He felt like one of those guys.
That's why I'm playing basketball one day, 360 dunking.
Oh.
Easy. Oh. In a half court. Wasn't no run at the start. I'm like, oh.
You ever?
What did they do?
Now I tried. Now I was terrible.
You tried the 360 dunk?
No,
and you were terrible?
No,
okay.
I never. I could touch the bracket that was under the rim. I never touched the rim.
Oh, you 360 dunked the net.
I could 360 and grab the net. But you remember, I ran the 800 or the 880 is what it used to be called because it was yards.
Oh, that was way too far for me.
And I think I told you this story. At the beginning of the season, we had a meet, and I finished 30th. And I trained as hard as I could train. And at the end of the year, in the last meet, I finished 15th.
Oh, okay.
So that just shows you, that's who I was. Yeah. I was 30th in the first meet, and I was 15th in the last meet.
I'm going to get better than I did the last time.
I moved up 3 clicks every time in between. It's the best I could do. Mm-hmm. And I know you talked to me about playing basketball, running track, playing baseball. But remember, the guy who the bus would pull up, and the guy would just get off the twitchy guy would just get off the bus, and you'd be like, uh-oh. And that guy would run the 100 and run the 200. Yeah. And then he was a hurdler. Then he would high jump, and then he'd go long jump. Mm-hmm. Remember those guys?
Yeah.
That's Justin Hunter.
Yeah, he is.
He just gets off the bus, and it's where the coach is like, you think you got 6 events in you today? Yeah, sure, coach. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Or take him to the golf course. How much you play golf? Oh, no, I never play. Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah. I was never that guy. I wish I was. I tried to be that guy. I would come up a little short on the high jump. Was a long jumper. Hey, man, I tried though, but yeah, that's one of me. Those first round talent guys, man. It's like they could touch anything, and they look like, oh man, you've been doing this for a while, huh? Nah, yeah, he had it. Yeah, he definitely had that. Unfortunately, that's not all what you need to make it in this league. Mm-hmm.
Give those guys a tennis racket, just anything. Those guys, and some of y'all out there are those people. And I don't like you. I'm just kidding. I like everybody.
You don't like ding-dongs.
I do not. Eric will lead us off with the ding-dong of the week. You got one, 615-737-1037. 1045. Eric, before you share the ding dong, how you feeling, man? I know you've been dealing with some medical stuff.
I'm still sore. I went to my first physical therapy session today. They're kind of starting me in kind of slowly, but they said that we're really going to pick you up next week. So it's just in a lot of pain, guys. And also, before I had my surgery last week, I had to take a whole bunch of pills, which I didn't have to do last time when I had my right side done. I took like 7 different pills. And the first two were huge pills. Almost choked on the second one. So they decided, no, we're not going to give you that third pill because you want to choke on it. But I had to take like acid reflux, things for blood, aspirin, all that type of stuff. It was just, but I'm doing better, but I'm still just a lot of pain and real sore. But thanks.
Get well soon, man. We think a lot of you. Yeah. So please get well soon.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. What
guys,
you got?
I've got 2, and they're both sports related. My first one, you may have heard about this. Auburn quarterback T.J. Finley. He had just signed a deal with Amazon, and he was arrested a day later. I don't know the details about it. I heard about it this weekend. They may have said something, but he gets a ding-dong for that happening. You just can't have that happen. You may have more details about that. I don't know. But my second one, guys, is Arizona Cardinals in general. They just cannot stay out of the news. You had the whole thing with DeAndre Hopkins. Then you had the whole thing with Kyler Murray. Then you had Hollywood Brown, and the whole thing was speeding. And now you may have heard about this latest one, and I don't know the details about it, but apparently Cliff Kingsbury took a shot at Kyler Murray by the way he ran the offense or something like that. I can't remember what specifically said, but he apparently took a shot at him last week, and it's like, why are you just piling on like that? It's just, you need to leave that alone. You guys may have had the comments about it, what he specifically said, but I heard about the story. So those 2 are my ding-dongs of the week. Guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.
Well,
thank you, Eric.
Get well soon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So does this involve a moped with T.J. Finley?
Yeah, that was my ding dong.
Okay.
T.J. Finley, Auburn quarterback who transferred from LSU a couple of off seasons ago, got pulled over in Auburn for driving his moped without a helmet. That's not why he got arrested. He got arrested for evading police.
Oh. How fast could you evade police on a moped?
I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like he could go too fast. Now, what he could do is go through spots where they can't actually get, a car. So that can make the,
like an alley, down a little alleyway.
Right, yeah. He could be up on the sidewalks and turn down an alley where they can't get the cars down there.
The visual of that is just fantastic.
I mean, I grew up in the 80s and people had mopeds. And the thought of somebody escaping, on a Honda Dispatch or whatever they were called. This is from his attorney. The charges pending against my client, T.J. Finley, are the result of traffic violations and a misunderstanding. The charges are in the process of being handled in municipal court within the city of Auburn, as all traffic citations are. As soon as T.J. learned of the charges, he turned himself in. He's been released on a bond he signed for himself. His first day of football camp at Auburn has been a success.
So what? He didn't know that the cops were trying to get him to pull over?
Not.
Is that what it is?
I mean, I guess not.
Just zipped away in his moped?
I mean, he just was thinking about playbooks and stuff. He didn't notice the blue lights behind him.
The Arizona Cardinals will love to have that
I
problem.
don't know about that one, man.
He was thinking about, Oklahoma drills and stuff. He wasn't. Those blue lights and sirens didn't. Quick search on Twitter turns up multiple funny things about him eluding police on a moped.
So the Cliff Kingsbury the Cliff Kingsbury quote that Eric was talking about there, I just pulled up from the New York Post, where Cliff Kingsbury, trying to teach Kyler Murray a lesson about play calling, says this bleep ain't easy. So apparently he's had Murray call plays for the backup quarterbacks during practices with the Arizona Cardinals, and because he wanted his starter to understand what it was like to call plays during a game. And every now and then, this is from Kingsbury, he starts shaking his head when I'm calling in there. And I'm like, all right, big dog, anytime we can keep him involved. He was coaching them right up until the last second. Like while they were trying to throw, he was saying stuff to them. So probably won't be doing that again. And he said, jokingly, I would not want to play for Kyler Murray if I was a quarterback and he was the coach.
Cliff Kingsbury. Most unlikely NFL coaching hire that I remember of the last 25 or 30 years. Like sometimes in the 70s and 80s, a coach would get hired and it would just be baffling, but there was no social media where you could go talk about it. Nobody was blogging about it. But Cliff Kingsbury, I mean, that was baffling to me.
Got fired from his alma mater.
Yeah. And then hired to be an NFL coach of a perpetually being the right word, bad franchise. Like, hey, man, Nobody's been able to turn this thing around, but you just got fired from, Texas Tech. Seems like a perfect marriage here for you to fix this.
Oh.
Do you have a moped? Do you have a helmet? Blaine Bishop, what is your ding-dong? Then we'll get to Phil in Portland.
Well, I'm probably going to be the ding-dong here, but I am not a big fan of the unofficial depth chart. I'm just not. And I know the NFL tells them they have to put out a depth chart, but if you're putting out the depth chart, why isn't it official? Now, you could change it around how you want to, but I don't understand why I never understood it even as a player, and I'm sure there's an explanation that I probably still won't understand because people have explained it to me numerous times. But, it seems like it's true to, what they're doing at practice. But I don't understand why it's unofficial. I guess because the season hasn't started. I think that's the explanation I got before. Like the season hasn't started. Until the season starts, does it become official? Is that true, you think? It just hit me while I was talking about it. I think, and I want to say – Coach Mack might have said that to me. I might have asked him on air.
I need to look.
I think that's the reason.
I hoard things. I need to look in my backpack, which I've been carrying for years, and see if I have a game release from the Titans. Or I'm sure I have one in email, and, it's the 80 pages or 50 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. The last page typically, or second to last page, is usually the depth chart. Let's see if it says official or unofficial. I'll dig through my stuff in the break. We'll see if we can. We'll see what we can find out about it.
Red Brian's got piles of them in there.
What happened?
I said Red Brian's got piles of those.
Well, I need to get with my Red Brian account and see if I can solve this mystery, because there's always a depth chart in the back of the game day release. See if it has the U.
I'm always using it. Reading the game day magazines. Especially in preseason, I never remember that.
Well, not in the magazines, in just the paper release. Yeah. You get an email of it, and
I think that's the reason. But man, I don't understand. I guess because you got a lot of guys that's not going to be on the team. But for the guys that we're all looking at now, I'm sure there's a handful of guys on each team that here or there that probably make it or not make it. But
all right, are we sweetening the pot on this a little bit for Ding Dong of the Week?
I think we are.
This is fantastic.
What happened?
I'm going to try to have the biggest Ding Dong this week. If you got a Ding Dong you want to call in with 615-737-1045, we'll pick the best Ding Dong of the week. You get ZZ Top and Jeff Beck tickets at Franklin's First Bank Amphitheater. That show is coming up Tuesday, September 27th, thanks to Window Nation. So, best Ding Dong of the week will get those ZZ Top and Jeff Beck tickets.
Oh, you just made me add two more. Then I want to win.
You're gonna try to win.
I'm gonna try to win. Yep, I'm gonna try to win this. I'm going all in, chips all in. Yep, all in. Watch out. Sometimes those chips come back out throwing at you.
Saw ZZ Top on the Afterburner tour in 1986 at the Mid-South Coliseum, the Roundhouse.
We got another one?
Let's see if Phil's ready to win some ZZ Top tickets. What's going on, Phil? Welcome into the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I'm a little frustrated, so I got two, if you don't mind. I don't mean to be greedy on here or nothing,
sure.
But I had a dramatic situation. Well, first I want to address Conor McGregor doing the reboot at Roadhouse. Don't mess up a classic. I'd rather see Cookie Monster in there fighting Patrick Swayze than Conor McGregor. And then yesterday, I got to give one to this random lady. I ain't going to call her name out. I know her name from her badge over there at the race. Lightning goes off. She comes flying my way, knocks my red Solo Cup beer all over my shirt because she can't handle the nervousness part of it. I had to smell like beer all the way till I got home. It ruined the race for me. So I'm giving two ding-dongs, one to Conor McGregor and the lady that puts beer on everybody. That's me.
Hey, hold on, Phil. We may, and we'll take a couple other phone calls here, 615-737-1045. But man lost his beer, and speaking up for Roadhouse. Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. How many times have you seen it?
I've probably seen it twice all the way through. Like once when it was new, and then one night I couldn't. I have lots of times in my life where I can't sleep, so I watched it on like TNT, the edited version. People are big mad about this.
Yeah.
People are big mad. Like sometimes when a movie gets remade, people are like, yeah, that's fine. Nobody wants Patrick Swayze's legacy messed up in any way. God rest his soul. People are big mad about a potential remake of Roadhouse. Every time it comes up, like they should remake Roadhouse, people go bananas, like mad bananas about it.
Why
Who would have
that?
thunk it? At the time, if somebody was like, oh, yeah, this is a classic, I would have said, I mean, it's fine. But Roadhouse? Oh, no. Growing up in the country, and it's kind of set out in the country, and it's like a hole-in-the-wall bar, and people are fighting there, and there's some, like, hillbilly mafia-type people.
None of those things you're familiar with.
1,000% I am. My friend, there was in Northeast Arkansas an entity called the Hillbilly Mafia. All of these people wound up I hope I don't get killed for saying this.
You can't make up this stuff that
The Hillbilly Mafia.
Cry here, man.
Like 2020 came and
I've never heard of this.
The Hillbilly Mafia. A friend of they had a shootout in the middle of my hometown on like a summer afternoon one day. My friend was walking to the library, and a bullet went over his head and hit the library wall over his head. Like he almost lost his life to go get, a book to the Hillbilly Mafia.
Oh, my.
Yeah, it was an interesting time to be alive. Let's get California Rob next. Chance to win some ZZ Top tickets on Blaine and Mickey. What you got, California Rob?
Okay. My thing is that NFL fans, now I'm a Raider fan. I love football. But last Thursday night, the Nielsen rating had the pregame show was the number 2 rated Nielsen rating, and the football game was the number 1 rated program of all TV programming last week. And I'm a Raider fan. I didn't even watch the game. And also, bring back baseball to TSU. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
All right. Here's the thing. The Pro Bowl is the greatest example of this. Everybody hates it. Nobody admits to watching it, but every year it gets, 5-6 million people who watch.
Yeah.
Now, there's an all-time high degree to get rid of this thing, but it still goes on because some people still watch it, including me, and that's sad. Let's get one more phone call in. Donald in Shebville with the ding-dong. What's going on, Donald?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good.
My ding-dong is for the Bill Mickelson and the Live Tour. Did they not expect this to happen when they decided to go to that? And the BJ would kick them out. That's my ding-dong for the week.
Yeah, I mean, I would think they could see that coming. But the lure of tens and or hundreds of millions would just make you think, oh, I'm just going to cash this check and then I'll start to fight for the other stuff later. I mean, right? I mean, wait, how much? Okay, well, they can just be as PO'd as they want. I'm going to cash this. Wait, I have to wait. No, I can cash it today? Okay. They can just be mad. And then later, people want to forgive. They'll forgive me later. Right? I mean, sorry. This is hundreds of millions.
Who's this love chat XYZ dating site keeps popping up on our thing?
Oh, no.
Man.
Somebody's trying to show us some love in this Zone TV
We're getting
chat.
spammed.
Let's do this.
We got
We'll
all
take a
these-
break.
these
We'll talk
lips
in the
on here.
break. We'll pick a winner. You want to sneak in one more phone call, you can do it 615-737-1045. My ding-dong of the week, I got a sound bite. It's a long ding-dong of the week, and I got it for you next.
Long clown.
Yes. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ding Dong of the Week, courtesy of Mark Spain. Daniel in Brentwood has a ding dong for us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Daniel, what you got?
Well, when you go out with that person that can't stop talking about their ex.
Oh, that is not good.
That ex over and over again, and they're still in love with them. That's A.J. Brown.
Did you see the
so
bit that he
true.
did with NFL Network? We played it last week.
I hadn't seen that one or heard that one.
Oh, yeah, there's more. It's not just him tweeting. He actually, and appreciate
Well, he
the
was
phone
asked a
call.
question,
He was
yeah.
asked about it, and he was standing there with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts took his hand and put it over the microphone, blocked it. He goes, no, I got this. And then he kind of repeated. Lucas is in there looking around. That may even still be in the system. It was a pretty quick little interview. But we talked about this last week. He brought it up again. Chuck says he's added another sports-related ding-dong. My ding-dong of the week is whoever voted for Texas #1 in the preseason college football poll. Have you seen that?
No.
No, me neither. Okay, this is, to follow up with Daniel, this is what AJ actually said on NFL Network about the Titans.
It was me. Yeah. Have you come to peace with how things ended in Tennessee?
I'm gonna answer. No, I want to answer. Looking out for you. Yeah. That was just it's a business, and I'm not upset about the trading thing because it is a business or whatever. But to be honest, I just didn't appreciate how it all went down. And they just kind of blame me for it, I'm man enough to say that, so however people may take it, but, I have no bad blood with Tennessee, I'm moving forward, I'm happy to be here, but, a lot of things people don't know about, and they just point fingers at me, but that's okay though, so.
At some point, you just got to let it go, man. I enjoyed my time there. Looking forward to playing here.
He acted like he wanted, and he said that, but then he wanted to go more.
Yep.
So it makes him feel like he wants to be back with the ex-girlfriend.
Well, the ex-girlfriend, Tannehill certainly gave him the higher share of targets than anybody else. He got opportunities.
I heard he did really well in their scrimmage last night, too, by the way. I don't know what those numbers look like, but they said he lit that thing up. I think it was a night game.
Well, here's the other thing. The Titans
Scrimmage.
Were one of 4 teams who had over 500 rush attempts last year. Well, one of the other 4 was Eagles. You're going to another run-heavy offense, and a quarterback runs in a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the same number of opportunities there.
But he's hoping he stays healthy and that Hurts turns the corner and becomes a better, pocket passer.
He's betting.
That's what he's betting on.
Great situation for Hurts.
Yeah, it is.
One of his best friends on one side and A.J. Brown, and then a former teammate, former Alabama teammate.
You can't do it here, then you're never going to be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh, no, this is it. You're the Eagles. You're like, here's everything
They're
you
going to
need.
be drafting a first-round quarterback.
They are. My ding-dong of the week is a former Patriot, Rich Orenberger, who literally wrecked his car on purpose into a church van to keep from getting fined by the Patriots. This is a long sound
by Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick. He thought he would be cut. We can play like 45 seconds a minute. This is him on his own show, the Hartman and Rich O show, talking about it.
Yeah.
You possibly can every single day for work, because you don't want to be the guy that's wandering into a squad team meeting and have Bill Belichick and the rest of the team look at you. So I wake up, my phone died overnight, and I realize I'm waking up to the sound of chirping birds and not my alarm going off. And I am frantic. I don't even bother looking at the clock. I know I'm late. I just know I'm late. So I grab everything I need to. I'm completely unkempt. I throw myself in the car in the garage, back out as fast as I can, and I get to the road. And I don't want to speed. I don't want to get a ticket because that's only going to exacerbate things. So I'm stopping at every stop sign, but I'm hustling. I'm trying to get there. I finally look at the clock on my I was driving a Chevy Tahoe, and it says I'm late already. Or I'm going to be. Like, I'm like 5 minutes to being officially late, and I've got a 15-minute drive ahead of me. I'm going to be 10 minutes late for this day. So I'm like, oh, my gosh, what do I do? And I have this sinking feeling in my stomach, like, I'm going to get cut. Like, he's not going to have me on this football team come tomorrow. What do I do? And I'm cruising down this like slight sloping hill that brings you to the first traffic light that I have to turn right to get to the stadium for the morning meeting. And I see a church van in front of me that's all dinged up, and it's got, the black smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe. And I'm just like, I'm going to hit this car.
Oh, my.
So he hit it. He hit the church van, and it's a long soundbite. It's out there. You can find it. And he basically said, like, I would rather just give somebody a few $100s out of my pocket or eat the insurance than Bill Belichick to cut me because I was late. And it worked. And he said they were still, like, giving him the side eye, like, even with the wreck, like he said, like, they figured out he did this on purpose. That's the fear they lived in New England. He wrecked his car. He had a church van. I mean, it could have nuns or children in it.
I love how the logic that it was already dinged up.
Yes.
There's black smoke coming out the exhaust. Like, yeah.
He said, I had to hit it enough to make a mark on my bumper so I could show them that I did it.
I respect that strategy, though. I mean, think about the money he saved from paying the insurance versus getting cut from the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I think he may have even just handed this guy some cash.
Did he get fined?
Yeah, no. He got out. He got off. Had a 5-year career, 2 of those years with the Patriots, but he saved himself that day.
Oh, my. I'm going to tell you this, just logically. Yeah, that is the fear of Bill Belichick right there. People are nervous about being late and like, well, I screwed this up. I'm going to get a 5. No, he went to the extreme to hit another person in the car to say that he got in a car wreck. Oh, man. That time, I've never heard anything like that. I think you may be the winner of the team right there.
All right, we do need a winner, if not me or Rich Ornberger. What do you guys say? Let's talk about it in the break. We'll come back. We'll announce the ding-dong winner at the top of the hour. Also, Titans have a depth chart. If you're just joining us, we got thoughts on that. Also, Ryan Tannehill talking about leadership and Racey McMath. Let's hear from the Titans quarterback next. Woo, Blaine and Mickey, the 104.5, The Zone. Ding dong of the week, Phil got his beard knocked over at the race and is upset about a Roadhouse remake, a potential Roadhouse remake, the movie Roadhouse. Phil is our winner. Phil, if you want to call in and talk to Lucas, or he can call you 615-737-1045, Ding Dong of the Week, courtesy of our friend Mark Spain. We got an unofficial depth chart, courtesy of the Tennessee Titans today. Blaine's favorite word is unofficial.
Because it becomes official when the season starts, right?
Well, our crack research staff, which was me, forgot to look in the last break for that. But I'm going to see if I can find this. I got a Titans folder on my phone. I'm going to see if I can find this.
Well, Blaine, I liked what Nick Westbrook-Akina said today. He's listed as a starter on this unofficial depth chart.
Ooh, there you go.
Depth charts are basically written in sand at this time of year.
Oh, is that what his answer was?
Yeah.
He's been very wise. He said some very wise things lately.
Yeah, it's in quicksand. That's why I said they're forced to put one out here because I guess the league says you have to. I don't think the teams really want to put out an unofficial depth chart. But it's a good gauge for all of us in the media and fans and everything else. But sometimes, man, those things are they lying to us. On this one here, it looks like it's pretty accurate based off how they've been practicing.
All right, I'm going to keep tearing through my phone. I'll try to find this particular the piece of information I'm looking for is you get a game release every week from the Titans. And it always has a depth chart at the end, and I was going to see if the depth chart said official or unofficial at that point. All right, I'll keep looking. Some stuff that stood out to me. We'll hear from Ryan Tannehill in just a minute. He got asked today about pushing guys and got to talking about that and his leadership and how he's – well, I'll let him explain it. But a couple of things that stood out. There are 3 slashes, meaning this guy or that guy. And it's not surprising the positions. Left guard, Aaron Brewer / Jamarco Jones. At this point, I mean, if they had a game tomorrow and they said Jamarco Jones is the starter, my jaw would hit the floor. I would be shocked. The only time we've mentioned his name was when he, took a swipe at Taylor Lewan before practice, and we didn't see it. Fans did and told everybody.
I know a lot of people are against Brewer just because he doesn't meet the size requirement. Guess what? I'm all about that action, boss. Size doesn't matter if you go out there and you're up there dominating. What? Okay. Oh, I'm not going to like Aaron Donald. He's just a little too short.
Yeah. Arms are too short, right?
Yeah,
like McCreary.
Yeah. Well, he's sure hard to stop. So, let's go about the actions. And right now, they believe those actions by Aaron Brewer are better. And he has some experience, too. So, let alone he's backed up at center as well. So, hopefully he'll continue, this surge to be the starter.
He's listed at 295 now. He wasn't listed at that before.
What was he listed at?
Like 280, I think. Oh. I'd have to go back and look, but he's listed at 295 on this current numerical roster that I got today.
You know what I care about? Results.
Yep.
So, ultimately it becomes about that and not necessarily his size. Now, if that's hurting him, then eventually that will be, the demise of him starting. But every time I've watched him, he's gotten out there, he's done a fairly good job. So I think I kind of cheer for the underdog, undersized, knowing that I am an underdog and undersized guy myself. We got some breaking news?
Not for the sounder, but Pro Football Reference, my absolute favorite website in the world.
Uh-oh.
Aaron Brewer, 6'1", 274. So he's weighing 21 more pounds per the current Titans roster. 21 more pounds. That's a lot of pounds on a man. And that's interesting because can he do the things he needs to do if he weighs 20 more pounds and he's used to weighing, or 10 more, or whatever he landed at?
Mm-hmm. And that will be the question, because do you sacrifice mass for athleticism and speed and quickness? And at the guard spot, I think it's a touchy subject. He's got to balance that out. So we shall see if he can move around and be athletic like he was before with the extra, let's say 15 pounds. Yeah, which is a lot, yeah.
So it's him or Jamarco Jones. By the way, Logan said if that's all it takes to win the ding-dong, that was awful. Well, Logan, call in next week and have a bigger ding-dong. That's it. Let's hear how big your ding-dong is, Logan, and then you can try to win. The other slash, Dylan Radins, Nicholas Petit-Frere. I got notes from today, number 78, lining up again with the ones, getting some more run with the ones. Not all of them, but he got
Watch this. Was Dylan Radins winning with the twos?
He was.
I was just
78
checking
was
just to make
running
sure.
with the ones. Yeah. So here's team 2, 78 at right tackle. Here's team 3, 78 at right tackle.
He better outright beat Dylan Radins out. Or, they're going to be hollering favoritism in the locker room to the Ohio State players.
Ooh. The other thing
it will be. It will be behind the scenes. Somebody's going to be, hey, man, I don't know. It was even Steven, man. Dylan Radins should have got that job, man.
The other or is Caleb Farley or Roger McCreary. This is something that you talked about, and certainly Dyson has talked about, our pre- and post-game amigo for, all these past few years. And guys in the locker room know who's supposed to be starting. Right? I mean, if you a guy starts
know.
who's not supposed to be starting, guys are like, oh.
Really?
Yeah.
That happens even when somebody gets cut and the person they kept was not better. That same type of feeling. Huh? What did they miss on this? Yeah, that happens. Mm-hmm.
Aaron Brewer, Jamarco Jones, Dylan Radins, or Petit Frere, Caleb Farley, or Roger McCreary. Those are the 3 ors that showed up on this thing. We talked about Roger McCreary some in the first hour. There's just not going to be an excuse, I don't think, to not play him. I think they're just going to have to find this. Okay, you go play this.
No, they're going to have to find an excuse why they're not playing him.
If they don't, yes, because that dude is doing the things like, there.
He's a wily vet, smart. You can tell he works on his craft. He studies, the defense, and he's even studying the offense. So, man, he's a guy that's wise among, beyond his years. That's for sure. So it's good to see a guy come out there and do that, man. It's exciting because it's defensive back, man. Corner, oh my, it's so hard. Yeah, he's doing a great job. I guess that's why he got a day off, man. I remember my rookie year, man. I thought I was gonna die.
You get any days off?
Huh?
Did you have load management? Is that a load right there?
Yeah, but my knee is probably still hurting from that time they didn't give me a day off.
my knee hurts from camp. My knee hurts. I had to take an Advil last night.
Oh, yeah. You had to take an
Camp's
Advil
getting to me, man. Yeah, the grind.
Yeah, the standing out there, man, is pretty rough, man. Don't lock your knees.
I got to unlock them now. A couple of 6th-round picks from this year, Theo Jackson and Chance Campbell, the linebacker from Ole Miss, and, of course, the safety from the DB from Tennessee. Safety, multifaceted guy. They're both second team listed on this depth chart. The punt returner is Kyle Phillips, and I think we all knew he was a punt returner, but he's currently listed as the number 1 punt returner. Dontrell Hilliard, who, I like Hassan Haskins. Dontrell Hilliard's the number 2 back. Today, if there's a game, they're going to kick off. He's probably going to catch that kickoff. He's the number 1 kick returner. He's catching balls all over the place. He's running with the ones because they're keeping Henry out of that stuff. But Dontrell Hilliard listed as the number 1 kick returner, just some of the things that stood out. Now, the wide receiver battle, they had 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends listed as starters. Nick Westbrook-Akina, we've told people all along, don't be surprised. He's your number 1 receiver right now. He's the first person listed on the depth chart. The other number 1 receiver is Robert Woods. The 2s are Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. The top 2 tight ends are Austin Hooper and Jeff Swaim, and then Chig and Tommy Hudson are the next 2 guys. Now, this offense, a lot of new faces. They're getting pushed. Ryan Tannehill talked today about leadership and about pushing guys. This was the Titans quarterback after practice today.
Probably so. I think I'm trying to push these guys each and every day. Like I said, don't want to take any day for granted out here, but I'm going to try to push them and get the best out of them. As well as myself, I'm pushing myself, trying to get the best out of myself. So if we can all do that, if everyone who steps foot on that field can push themselves and the leaders can push the guys around us to get the best out of everybody, we're going to be a really good football team.
So he's trying to push the guys. Actually, Tannehill had his 2nd interception of training camp yesterday on Sunday, but he's looked decisive. He's looked relaxed. Nick Westbrook-Akina talked.
It was McCreary, wasn't it?
McCreary got him. He sure did. It's funny. We're talking about McCreary. McCreary got him the number 2 times. But Nick Westbrook-Akina, we talked to him on Sunday, and he got asked about Tannehill, and he was talking about somebody asked about his accuracy, and he said he's literally like throwing to the shoulder away from the defense. He's throwing me into my breaks. He's making my job easier, is what Nick Westbrook-Akina said. And he said, honestly, that's not surprising. I mean, Tannehill's an accurate quarterback, makes all the throws, but he just looks relaxed, man. I mean, I know he talked in the offseason, he'd gone to therapy and everything else about that loss, but he looks like a guy who's fully in control of everything he's doing out there.
And what did I say? He was going to come back.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really the only test, I mean, we could talk about all season long. I want to see how he plays in the playoffs at the end of the day. I know that's everybody, kind of saying that thing, but I knew he would come back. He's a competitor at the highest level. You're going to work on all your weaknesses, and you're going to continue to grow, not only as a player, as a person. And so I believe in Tannehill. I think they should make him feel a little more comfortable by throwing a tad more, because you don't want it to be all of a sudden in the playoffs when you're playing really good teams that you're going to be able to just run the ball down people's throats. And I get it. You have to be able to run the football, especially in the playoffs. But, it's going to be tough sledding because all the defenses are going to be pretty good too. So if you get a guy that goes for 60 or 80, which they did more than that, they had the turnovers. Everybody will say, well, if you didn't have the turnovers, well, you got to plan on things happen in big moments. But how can you overcome them? Is your team built to overcome mistakes as well? So you must prep him to be ready to see success throwing the football and winning games and not just handing the rock off. Because I think we're all visual guys as athletes. And once you see yourself do something one time, you can do it again and again and again and over and over and over again. And I just think he has to see that in a play. And all it takes is one score in a playoff game, and then boom, he's ready to rock and roll. So I'm really interested. I'm actually cheering for him because all the slack he took after the Bengals game, deservingly so. But there's a lot of parts to that. But I think he's the type of guy to come back and play better. I'm more interested in if he tries so hard, then he messes up again. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, that's legit. That's a very legit thing to worry about. I think they're going to be creative this year, more creative than they've been. And I know we can't say because this guy's lining up here on offense.
Oh, you talking about on offense as far as just schematically?
Schematically.
Okay.
I think things like people are going to go, well, this looks different.
Well, good. I hope so.
Because there have been times where a lot of us out there are like, well, this looks different. So, like, people doing different things and people being versatile and where they use them. And if you're saying give examples, I can't. We can't give examples that they don't want us saying, oh, this guy's lining up here. But just people being more versatile. The other thing I think they're going to do is just allow him to – I told you, like Hooper. I told you I thought he was going to catch 65 7-yard passes. Then I amended it to, like, 65 6-yard passes. After watching him in practice, I think he's got a ways to go to maybe get more targets. I mean, he gets targeted. Like, there's a couple times in practice where he'll be like, oh, that's a great catch. And then another one maybe he can't quite come up with it, or the play just won't quite develop all the way. But I don't know if I don't know how many targets he's going to get. But if they could just do the death by 1,000 paper cuts sometimes with Tannehill, with possession-type receivers, and not just Derrick Henry getting 4 yards a pop, but throw the ball 5 yards, throw the ball 6 yards, throw the ball 7
That's
yards.
why you got Kyle Phillips and you got Burks with the breakaway, tackling ability, and Mr. Consistency himself, NWI. So, that group is starting to, they're about to show that let's see what they can do against some really good secondaries. Let's see, because we know what Robert Woods can do, but will he be the same guy he was, after the ACL?
Well, let's hope.
Don't know.
He looks good so far, but again, no live nothing yet. So
have we heard anything about who's playing in the preseason game?
We know that Derrick Henry isn't. Which he said that today. So David Beauclair is going to join us next. Let's ask David Beauclair about that. Let's ask him about a whole bunch of Titan stuff. Then I want to end the show today. I want to parallel something the Raiders did with something with the Tennessee Titans, and I want to ask Blaine Bishop about that. But that's not till the last segment. David Beauclair is next.
What you talking about?
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. We want some Titans knowledge, so David Beauclair is about to give it to us here on Blaine and Mickey. Back on the practice field today. First preseason game is Thursday at Baltimore, and David joins us now. Bokey, so Derrick Henry spoke after practice today. He's not going to play on Thursday. No surprise, but do you think he should get some type of work in a preseason game at some point, or are you good with his first snap being first snap against the Giants?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Mickey. I kind of go back and forth on it, but ultimately I think Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry, right? I mean, he's just different. You don't worry about his conditioning. You don't worry about his fitness level or anything like that. What you do worry about is sort of his connection with and his timing with the offensive line, especially since it's going to be a different offensive line. But I mean, guys are going to get hurt playing football, right? That's part of this game. But I think with Derrick Henry, you just don't take that risk, even though it seems like it's much less of a risk with him. I think you say, you know what, he's going to be good to go week one, and he's going to be the biggest part of our offense, and we'll save him till then.
What's been the biggest storyline for you so far in this camp? There's always something. What is it for you?
I think the play of the rookie class. There was so much skepticism and whatnot about Treylon Burks, and then he has a big first couple of days and hasn't been as noticeable or as good since, but it's certainly nothing, no problems that getting through practice like we saw. I mean, you watch him move out there, you watch his athleticism, his strength. I mean, he looks like an NFL player, and that wasn't the case. So, that's really good. Roger McCreary, the second round pick, is a guy that you can't help but notice when he's out there playing defense, and whether he beats out Caleb Farley for the starting cornerback job, which I doubt, or not, he's gonna see a ton of playing time this year. Malik Willis is certainly interesting. Hassan Haskins is a guy who looks like a really interesting option who can spell Derrick Henry in a way that the Titans really haven't had a guy who could spell Derrick Henry and give him a rest, lighten his load a little bit. We're starting to see Nicholas Petit-Frere get more and more reps with the first team. Clearly that has turned into a bona fide competition to be the starting right tackle. Chiga Okonkwo is going to factor very much into the passing game at tight end, and so on and so on. So I think after a couple of disappointing drafts, generally speaking, certainly not everybody the last couple of years has washed out. I think there's a lot of optimism about what this draft class can contribute, not only long term, but sort of immediately here in 2022, and the Titans need that, I think, right now.
David Beauclair, our guest at Beauclair Sports. Lots of good stuff from him there on Twitter, covering the Titans for Sports Illustrated.
Bokey, I can't remember back to all the drafts, but over the last 10 years, what draft class has contributed their most in their first year?
In the first year, I think that's a good. The 2019 draft is clearly kind of the gold standard for this team right now. When you talk about Jeffrey Simmons and A.J. Brown at the top of that thing, and A.J. was a guy who contributed right off the hop, had a big catch in week one against Cleveland there. Obviously it took Simmons a little time, but Nate Davis was a starter by week 5 for that team. David Long was a special teams player that year. I think that's probably, long term and short term, that's probably the one that had the biggest immediate impact. I mean, even if you go like 2016 was a good draft class. Maybe that's the other one. Jack Conklin was a starter right from the get-go and was an All-Pro that year. Kevin Byard became a starter pretty quickly that year. Tajay Sharp had his best year as a pro. So I think that was a pretty good draft class from the beginning. But one by one, other than Byard and Kevin Henry, now those guys fell off. So I would have to say 2019 was probably the best in terms of early contributions in recent years.
Well, with David Beauclair, publisher and producer of SI.com, I guess, what were your biggest concerns coming into camp, and what is your biggest concern now?
My biggest concern was Caleb Farley and what kind of consistency he would be able to show, because he hasn't played a lot of football, and that's a position where you're going to get beat sometimes. You just can't get on the roller coaster of getting frustrated, and if you get beat, you get beat a couple more times in the next 5 or 6 plays, and whether or not he would stay healthy or if he would twist an ankle or blow out a knee again or something. And Farley has been good when I have watched him. He's everything you want. Certainly in terms of the size, that's all well known, but he uses it well. Long reach, can get his hands on balls that a lot of other cornerbacks can. I kind of assumed that Roger McCreary would sort of quickly overtake him just from a consistency standpoint. But I think Farley has been really good, really solid, and really level-headed playing that position. In a way that we didn't see last year. I'm still, if I'm the Titans, I'm still concerned about the offensive line. I think, Aaron Brewer has gotten a lot of love from a lot of different people for his toughness and all that, and that's great. But I don't think you can look at that and say Aaron Brewer is an upgrade over Roger Saffold at left guard. You're not going to be as good there. The fact that Dylan Radins hasn't taken hold of the right tackle situation. I mentioned Petit Frere is in that competition, and I think it's that. It's not that Petit Frere has been so good. I don't think Radins has done enough to make them say, well, clearly he's the guy. So, now when you're talking about an overhauled wide receiver group that doesn't maybe scare you the way an A.J. Brown and Julio Jones tandem did, you're going to have defenses not afraid to put 8-9 guys in the box, and all of a sudden it becomes harder for Derrick Henry to run, particularly if that line's not as good. And Ryan Tannehill was sacked last year more than any quarterback except Joe Burrow. I just don't know if that line is going to be able to hold up against what they're going to face kind of on a Sunday-to-Sunday basis this year.
All right, well, with David Beauclair with SI.com, and I want you to put on your coach's hat here. Dave, you've been around ball for a really, really long time, and that is, how would you, I guess, disseminate how much you play your starters in preseason?
I guess I'm an old man, Blaine, right? Like I still think there's value to getting the starting offensive line
I
out
do too.
there
Yeah.
and letting them play 2 series in the opener and maybe play 5 or 6 series in the second game. I think there's value to giving Ryan Tannehill a drive with his starting wide receivers and then a drive with the second group of wide receivers. And I think I think the secondary, same sort of thing. They need to get out there and communicate and make pre-snap reads and calls and whatnot. So I would play them. I would play them a couple series in the first game, maybe play them a quarter and a half in the second game, and then turn the third game over to the youngsters and guys that I'm trying to evaluate for roster spots and practice squad and whatnot. But I think training camp is a long, hard grind, and it's almost. I think you almost need that that game action just to train your mind and your body kind of for those circumstances. I'd like to see more NFL teams get back to some of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. The reason why I asked that question, you would know better than me. Based off of last season, do you believe maybe they started off slow versus Arizona because they didn't play enough, or with the physicality that you have to play in an actual game, or that was just a one-off game, or you think the approach to the preseason probably needed to change?
I certainly thought that coming out of that week 1 loss to the Cardinals, but then they were a completely different team, in week 2 against Seattle. It's not like you saw them ramp it up over the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, they were as physical and as everything as they needed to be kind of in weeks 2 and 3 there. So I don't know that was it. I think every team sort of has a clunker somewhere along the way. Like I always refer to 1999 when you guys went to Baltimore late in the season and got beat. What was it, 42-14 or something?
I don't recall.
It was.
I think I got knocked out that game.
Yeah, like every team has one of those along the way somewhere, and for the Titans, it just happened in week 1 last year.
Oh, man, you just brought back nightmares of Eric Rhett and his hard head. Oh, my. Well, with David Beauclair with SI.com, man, he did have a hard head, man.
David, you wrote about Mason Kinsey. He had a real nice catch today in traffic, and I keep watching that guy thinking, gosh, he's one of the most experienced receivers on the team. He's a return man. But, man, the odds against that young fella are just about impossible.
I'm cheering for him, man. I want him.
Yeah, I mean, he's it's funny, and when I talk to him, he's a different guy. He's clearly not this wide-eyed Division III prospect who's he's so excited to be here and this and that. I mean, you can see a calm and a professionalism about him, and he's even got a big boy haircut now. And from the moment that the Titans drafted Kyle Phillips,
yep. Yeah.
Mason Kinsey was in trouble, and there were some people who said this is going to be an interesting training camp competition and preseason battle and whatnot. Well, it's over. Right? I mean, Kyle Phillips has won a no contest. It's a complete rout. And I think Kinsey is actually in a battle right now, though. Titans added this guy Terry Godwin, right?
Yes.
Yep, we like
Georgia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a player that you notice, and kind of a similar guy too, a little smaller, probably a slot receiver, is going to figure in the return game a little bit in the preseason. So I think at this point Kinsey is fighting for a spot on the practice squad with a guy like that, or maybe the undrafted rookie this year, Reggie Roberson, out of SMU. That's kind of where he is. I think he has the right attitude about it, and for what it's worth, the Titans put out their first unofficial depth chart today, and those things they're not completely meaningful, but I think what is meaningful in this case is that Kinsey is the only guy who's listed on the depth chart both at kick returner and punt returner. He's second at punt returner behind Phillips. He's third at kick returner. So I don't think there's any question that, because the way Mason Kinsey got into the NFL from a Division III school is that he could run. He's got speed. Well, he's going to have to show it in the return game. He's going to need to bust a long one or two this preseason, I think, to really kind of help him show that, okay, here, I'm making progress. I'm still evolving. I'm still becoming a better player.
Well, Bokeh, I got to ask, since you're talking about receivers, let's just say they keep 6. I don't know how many they'll keep. I'm going to just use that number to make it a little bit easier. Give me your 6 as of today.
Well, let's see. There's Robert Woods. There's Treylon Burks. There's Nick Westbrook-Akina. Obviously, Phillips is number 4. You're keeping Percy McNabb at first, and then you see what he can do, and then it comes down to a choice between Dez Fitzpatrick, Josh Malone, and Cody Hollister probably. So I'm going to.
Where's Roberson? Roberson's not in there. No.
Okay. I don't think he is. No, I think he's probably fighting for a spot on the practice squad right now. But I think the Titans are going to sort of they're not ready to give up on Dez Fitzpatrick yet. I think if they keep 6, then he would be that 6th guy. But that's certainly not a guarantee at this point.
Yeah, I wonder if that would be as much as he'd earned it, or as much as we don't want to admit that we traded up for a guy in the 4th round that we got to cut twice.
Yeah. I mean, and John Robinson can admit his mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Like Kevin Dodd was cut early in his contract. They cut Darrington Evans just this off season. They didn't try again with Julio. I mean, you can look at a number of cases where John Robinson can say, "Okay, we blew it." He's willing to say that. But I just don't know if they're convinced yet that because Fitzpatrick has his moments every now and then. It's just even in practice you don't notice him for the right reasons every day. Whereas like last week we saw Racey McMath like 3 days in a row, and early on you saw Treylon Burks a couple days in a row and whatnot. With Fitzpatrick, it's a play here, it's a play there. He has to. He has to show more, but he does probably show just enough that if they want to, they can convince themselves to keep him.
Lastly, real quick, Malik Willis, how's he doing? Is he closing the gap with Woodside? And 3 quarterbacks maybe dressing.
Yeah, I think absolutely 3 quarterbacks are going to dress, but when people ask me about Malik Willis, the one thing I say is coaches get excited talking about the fact that he hasn't had problems getting the play call from Todd Downing and repeating it in the huddle, right? Like this is where he's coming from. That he was in an offense where everything was called at the line of scrimmage from the sideline and this and that, and so he has a long to go, I think, before anyone would trust him as a number 2 quarterback to be able to do everything that needs to be done. So I would fully suspect that when if everybody stays healthy into the regular season, you're going to see 3 quarterbacks active, and you probably would see some special packages and plays, 2, 3, 4 times a game for Malik Willis, and see what they can do with him that way.
David, thank you, man. Fantastic stuff. You got some great articles, Greg Maben and Mason Kinsey, and a whole bunch of other stuff. People can check it out at si.com, of course, at Beauclair Sports on Twitter. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate that, Mickey. I haven't been actually busy enough lately. I got to crank it up here with a game week. So
I will be waiting.
There'll be more to come.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm reading all of them, so keep them coming, good sir.
I appreciate you. Have a good day, boys.
Yes, sir. The one and only David Beauclair. When we come back, I want to ask the one and only Blaine Bishop about playing in the preseason. I got an example that I'll share next. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. I thought you would come back with some of the beautiful Olivia Newton-John.
Should have come back to Greece.
Yeah. Lucas telling us in the break that
So he became the new ding-dong winner.
Olivia Newton-John passed away 73 after a long battle with breast cancer. She actually, in Australia, built a cancer center after her experience with cancer, and then wound up going there as a patient multiple times to attempt to be healed. But if you're of a certain age, and I am of that age, Grease came out in the 70s, and you had a crush on Olivia Newton-John. If you were walking the face of this earth, and you can definitely count me as one of those people. But, man, just a beautiful person, one of the most successful singers. I mean, fantastic songs and a fantastic career, and was also an actress, certainly in Grease, which was, just such an iconic role for her. But,
timeless.
That's that's a tough one. Rest in peace. And
so many people.
She has a daughter that I know they were very close. Anyway, big fan. So I hate to hear that, and prayers for her family and friends and fans all around the league. We got a couple minutes left in the show, and Blaine, I wanted to ask.
We got some breaking news though.
Is there more than Olivia Newton-John?
Well, that's not considered breaking news.
Okay,
but
all right.
We only talked about it off air, but the
breaking sports news on 104.5 The Zone.
Okay, there it is.
Will Bowling just reported that Michael Pruitt is signing with the Titans / Falcons.
The Falcons. Oh, man.
Yeah. So we had to get that out there on the Pruitt stuff. So, yeah. What are you calling them?
The Falcons.
Falcons.
I've lost track.
How many people is that? I want to say it's 5, but I don't know. I haven't.
We counted them, and there were like other guys we weren't even thinking about of how many guys.
Because
it
also became about former Titans, maybe not last year, like Marcus Mariota, so, and then Tajay Sharp left and went to the Bears, right? So you got the long snapper, the running back,
Rashawn Evans,
the linebacker. So it's a handful of guys. So yeah, there you have it. Pruitt, he shows up in Falcons. Falcons.
The Atlantans, maybe. How about that? Pruitt's a player we all like. There's nothing not to like about Pruitt.
Yeah,
and if he's your number 3 tight end, you have a good team. So
they signed Ferkser too.
Yep. Yes, they have.
They signed Ferkser. That's what it was. You just hit me.
They have 2 number 3 tight ends from the Titans.
Oh no! Ferkser was a number 1. Remember, I tried to tell you.
And I remember you saying, "I don't think it's going to work like that. I don't think that's the way that's supposed to be."
Yeah, that's going a little. That's a stretch there. He can run really good routes
all the way to the Atlantans. All right, we're down to like a minute, but I wanted to ask you this. Josh Jacobs had 5 carries and 2 catches in the first.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up in the Hall of Fame game.
Yes, he did. And he was running like a guy. Somebody said on Twitter, he was running like a guy who was mad that he was out there. Meanwhile,
running like a guy that may get traded or cut because he was out there for the first 2 or 3 drives. And I was a little alarmed, like, whoa, the new coach must not like him.
Hey,
and when I say that, I'm talking about as a player, not as a person.
They have a ton of running backs on that roster.
Yep.
And I saw Drake.
Kenyon Drake. They just drafted Zamir White out of Georgia.
Right. Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, 35. He was 35 out there. So I don't know what that means for him, but man, he is a heck of a player. And I know his numbers have kind of dwindled down a little bit with less carries and a little nicked up here or there, but man, he's a fascinating player. I'm kind of a fan of his.
Amir Abdullah on that roster too.
Yeah, Josh Abdullah looked really good.
Josh Jacobs is just so explosive. His acceleration to me is just ridiculous. But it's just like you said, nicked up. Just can't stay on the field all the time.
They had him out there with the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to say. Imagine King Henry out there with Logan Woodside at quarterback, and it's a preseason game. And it was by choice and design.
I can't imagine.
No way.
I can't imagine.
No way.
All right.
I would be lit for the King.
All right, the music is playing 10 seconds. We can get into this some tomorrow. Derrick Henry, should he get some preseason snaps? Should he? Should he get some preseason?
If you had to make a guess, what do you think I'm going to say?
I'm going to say yes.
Absolutely. I think he should be getting more practice reps.
All right, let's pick it up tomorrow. We'll pick this up tomorrow, and we'll carry it further. But right now, it's time for 3HL.
Somebody step on his foot. Let me see.
No. In the meantime.
In between time. Peace.
And